It's time for the Wally and Methot Show, presented by SportsInteraction.com. Now, here are your hosts, Brent Wallace and Mark Methot.
Welcome to the Wally and Methot Show, everybody. I'm Brent Wallace. He's Mark Methot. But Meth, I just want to point out today we're renaming the show the WABAM Show. That's a Craig decision because, as always, we have our good friend Bobby Ryan on the show. And really, Bobby's like the guy now that he can just come in your house and go right to the fridge and get whatever he wants or get the snacks.
Yeah,
you don't have to wait on him anymore. Yeah,
very comfortable.
Yeah,
yep.
I think that's important. So before we get to that, as always, the show brought to you by SportsInteraction.com. Go to SportsInteraction.com, especially for all the Stanley Cup playoff odds. We'll get to Meth's great decision making through round one. Go to SportsInteraction.com/Wally Methot, Canada's leading sports book. Also, that show brought to you by Whitewater Beer. Go to shopwhitewater.ca. Use the Wham-Funky Fresh coupon code. That'll help you select anything you want, really, from the shop. You can mix and match any of your choices. They do have a couple of new flavors out. One is the North-South, and there's also the Funky Fresh, which is a kiwi lime sour, and it's very good on summer nights. As always, now we'd like to welcome into the show Bobby Ryan, who is out on the West Coast, my friend. Bobby, come on in, take off your shoes, and thanks for joining us as always.
And raid the fridge. All right. The WABAM Show. I'm in and I like it. Thank you, gentlemen. It's always good to be with you guys.
Yeah. I don't know if I have to pay you more for that, but yes, we appreciate it every time you stop by. How are things in sunny California?
Well, am I gonna up my price to more soda? Is that all I get?
That stuff's expensive.
But it is, man. It is. It's like going to a dinner and getting a mocktail. It's $7 whether you like it or not. So I appreciate it. It was a great gesture, but things are good out here. It's gorgeous out here. It's early, but it's supposed to be gorgeous today. So we'll see. We've been out for a little bit. We're enjoying it.
Do you surf?
I don't surf. I did surf a little bit when I lived here and played here. Not a ton. I don't enjoy the ocean, so I've been out of it. But I'm a big wake surfer during the summer. But nothing's coming for you in the lake, right? So I prefer that over the ocean quite a bit.
It's Bobby. It's. Have you seen any of those clips? I guess now there's like more studies on. I feel like we've had this discussion before, where there's more drone footage now of surfers along those coasts, and there are far more sharks nearby than I think was previously thought. So now they're showing these people on their wakeboards or even on their surfboards, and there's all kinds of like outlines of sharks sort of swimming in the area, and they're usually good, but it just takes that one curious little guy to come and take a little bite, right?
And then once getting, like, you know how it goes. Wow. Let's try this again. Once one little guy gets in there and gets a nibble, the rest are going to follow peer pressure. So I'm out. I got no time for it. The general rule of thumb was like, if you saw dolphins, you were safe. And, you know, if you didn't, you had to be on your guard a little bit down at Newport Beach. But yeah, no, I just said, I'm done. I'm out. I don't enjoy, there's seaweed. There's all sorts of stuff. No, I'm out. No.
So
just
you're
get
a
me
pool
back
guy.
to Idaho in the lake. I'm a lake guy. Yeah. Anywhere I don't have to take my shirt off and show the dad bod off, I'm good. I'll wear a wetsuit and a life vest.
Get a wetsuit on.
Yeah. Hey, the water is 80 today. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Speaking of tarps off, which Meth likes to do every day in the summer, is Brady Tkachuk, also known to be tarps off. But this time, I don't know if you guys have seen, he's obviously cheering on his brother Matthew with Calgary. He's at the game wearing the Friendship Tour t-shirt. There's always going to be people that are disappointed and say, oh, how can you cheer for another team? I love it. I don't know about you guys as players, but I think it's fantastic to see that whole entire family get behind their brother or son or whatever and cheer him on.
Yeah. I'm initially, because I love Brady. I'm a Brady super fan. I will fully admit that. I thought initially, though, I had a hard time with it initially. I mean, you're the captain of another team and you're going to go over but I get it. You're supporting your brother. I think it's one thing if you're like up in a box and you're kind of hiding and you're watching the game and whatever, but it's another like chugging beers wearing a Calgary Flames t-shirt. I guess from a player's perspective, it's not something that I would do, but I'm also not Brady Tkachuk making X amount of money, being a captain of a team. So that maybe that's what I should have done. But Either way, I love the guy, and I would support my brother too. I just don't know that I would do it to that extent.
Yeah, I'd be in the box hiding, doing it, like, kind of thing. I'd be right. I'm not torn on it. Like, at the end of the day, it's still good press for the Senators, and it's still good press for Ottawa. So there is that side of it. But yeah, I think I would probably tone it down a notch. Could you imagine if he had done it in 2007 or 2008? It'd be a much different story. Yeah. Exactly. So I got no issue. He's cheering on a family member. He's there with his dad. They're going to be seen not only because he's Brady, but because his dad's Keith. So everybody's elevating it to a little bit more than it is. But yeah, I would be a little more toned down than that, but I still love it. I think it's great. And I like that he got going with he went with the let's go Sens or let's go Ottawa chant to try and get him going on his team. So he's not anything wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and I think we have to understand that that's just the Tkachuk family. That's what you get. If you're going to draft them and you're going to have them on your team, like Big Walt and company, all of them, that's just how they are. They're very involved. They're very passionate. They like to have their beers and have a good time. So it's just, it's part and parcel with the player and the family.
Right.
It's
you draft the family. No question. I just think you two are a little bit of stick in the muds. I think it's entertainment. And that's what we drastically lack in the National Hockey League. I am all for it. I don't care. He could be at the glass hammering on it for all I care.
Wow.
I just think it's good.
Yeah.
It's fun, right?
See, but don't pin this. Don't pin this like Bobby and I are suggesting that it was a bad thing. All I'm saying is that if it was me, and I'm pretty sure Bobby echoed the same thing, we would probably be a little more toned down. But that's just my personality. I wouldn't want to be the center of attention. So, because you're the captain of another NHL team, everyone's going to be watching you. You know that the broadcast is going to know exactly where you're sitting, and you're going to get airtime on TV. So, that's where I'm coming from.
No, I get it. And the captain thing for me is maybe it's a big deal. And I can appreciate that completely. And we're not used to seeing anything remotely close to this. I can't for the life of me think of any time we've seen another sibling wearing team colors, especially if you're the captain. But I'm fully on board. Like, as soon as I got over the first initial shock of it, I was like, I want to see more of this.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah. No, I got no issue. I drink a better beer. I don't know what he was drinking, but it was like
Michelob Ultra.
What is it? White water?
They're drinking those. They're drinking those light ones because we don't know how many they're pounding, right? Like if they're putting in a shift, that's probably why they're going with the 80 calorie beers. That's just my guess.
Have you seen the prices?
Yeah, that's fair.
Huh?
Have you seen the prices at arenas for beers? They're crazy. Maybe that's all they want to shell out is for the light ones.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let's not talk about prices and inflation right now. I'm going to go on a rant.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say they were always.
Well, you know what, Matt?
Free in I don't know what they pay, what everybody pays for them elsewhere.
Yeah.
Just sauna beers.
Sauna beers. That is a real thing. And I mean, obviously Bobby's not drinking now, but like when we played, I don't know. Can you guys hear me right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say when we played, after a big win, it was not uncommon to go in the sauna and pound a couple beers after the game. There might be a handful of guys. They'd bring a pail with a bunch of snow or ice in it, and you'd sit in there, and it would take like one or two beers. Like, you're already dehydrated going in the sauna, then you're mixing in a beer and sweating even more. And you'd walk out and you're like looking sideways, like, what just happened?
Yeah.
We had a good time. It was fun.
We essentially hacked pre-gaming for the bar. We had it was a life hack. I don't recommend it, but it was like, and then messed it after a big win, but equally after a big loss.
It's true. It's true.
It was pretty automatic there for especially my first 2 years. I was like, okay, this is I had never done it before. We didn't have that in Anaheim. There was no hot or sauna. So steam room beers just don't hit the same.
The steam rooms, it's weird because you can't see across, like you can't see any of the guys that you're sitting in there with, and it's so humid. So it just it's just kind of gross, right? But the sauna's dry. Gross. You can still talk. Bunch of naked dudes having beers, shooting the shit about the game. Gotta love it.
Yep. Yeah. I miss that.
Was it always the same group?
I don't know.
More or less. So yeah. Because it was always Zach Smith and Carl and
Dion,
Smith.
Grizz,
Dion,
MacArthur. whoever wanted to go in. Yeah. But it was usually the same guys. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Fair enough.
And this show just gets quickly off track whenever the two of you start chatting. As always, this show brought to you by BEI, Bonisher Excavating Inc. Don't forget, if you're looking to do your landscape this summer, give them a shout for stone aggregate, maybe redoing the driveway. Bonisher Excavating here to help with all that competitive pricing. Give them a call, 613-432-1120, or go to bonisherexcavating.com. BEI helping to shape the Ottawa Valley. Guys, before we move on to round one, Tim Stutzle, I don't know if you guys saw yesterday at the World Championships, injures the same left knee that he got hit on with Nick Suzuki. He missed 2 games at that particular point back in April 7th. Should there is no update that I know of as of yet. Should there be a little cause for concern as the way he left the ice in the Germany game?
Well, I mean, it didn't look good. We saw him limping down the hallway after the little collision, if that's what you want to call it. And you saw Timmy just give him the token little slash on the way out and then gets called. They actually ended up scoring on that power play that Timmy took, the penalty kill. So anyway, what's going to happen with him? I mean, I think, and Bobby can relate to this, playing a lot of international stuff. I think it's the last thing you want, right? Like you're playing for your country. It's sort of that extracurricular angle. You're not playing with your hockey club that's actually paying you. So apparently Pierre Dorion was in the building too. I could be wrong. Yeah, he was there. So that's tough. Like, you're going to get hurt. You're an emerging star player in the league. I just hope it's not serious. I hope it's just, non-surgical, might just need a little bit of time off. Have you guys heard anything? I mean, I haven't heard of exactly what the injury is, but it's to me, I just look at, no matter what the injury is, and you can relate this to Braden Point the other night, I'm always looking at the reaction. Is he getting up on his own? Is he walking off? Is he coming back? Can he put weight on his leg? Those are tough ones. So I'm thoughts are with Timmy, and I'm hoping that he has a quick recovery, but as it stands, I'm not going to pretend like I know what he hurt. It looks like it was his knee maybe, or something, or his hip, or I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and Meth, we played against each other at the Worlds over there the one year that we actually went. I went, and I was like, I'll never do this again. And like, I think I got asked like 8 years out of the time I was in the league. And I was like, no, I'm not. They sell it to you like, we're going to go there, we're going to do this, we're going to compete. But and then and for Timmy and, every European, it means way more to the European countries than North American. So I get it, but it's like, basically you're going to play in the NIT tournament. Right. If you're a college basketball fan, you don't make March Madness, you play in the NIT. Yeah. And I went, and it's like a month. It's just not a time to have a guy get injured. So I hope it's quick, and I hope it's just something that he's rehabbing for a couple of weeks and he's back to normal. Because now you're talking about missing a month of off season, where Tim's a young kid that's still getting stronger every day. He's missing that. That sucks. And I don't even know who they were playing, but it's probably a throwaway game, because most of them are in those tournaments until you get into quarters. It was brutal. I hope he's good.
Yeah. And that's like, to your point, because I was less inclined to decline it, because I was sort of a pigeon player in comparison to you when I was getting asked back in like the early or later 2000s when I went to 3 of them, and I really enjoyed the first one. The other 2 felt like work. I love Hockey Canada. They do a great job. I'm sure the US is the same, where they take care of the guys, and it's a nice setup. Logistically, they'll take care of you. They'll fly your family over after a week. It's great. But you just mentioned it, Wally. You said it's a month, potentially, I should say, a month-long tournament. It's a bit of a grind. Not many people are watching over here. I mean, I'm doing the coverage right now over in Toronto for it. I'm going back on Thursday. I don't know how many people are actually paying attention, but I think from a player's perspective, and I think that the teams deal with this, particularly the US and Canada, they get a lot of guys decline it, right? Like, the amount of players that actually say no would, I think, surprise a lot of people. You just don't hear about it when they're selecting these teams, right? So I'm with you on that. It's really cool if you've never experienced. I encourage every player to go and try it out if they do get asked. But like the second, third, fourth times, it can start to get a little old. Because like I was rooming with Jay Bowmeister, who was a mute. Like, he does not speak. and you guys know what it's like in Europe. Those beds, they're like little captain beds, like my kid's bed
like
upstairs.
A futon.
Yeah. And you're sleeping 2 feet away from a stranger that you don't know whatsoever. That guy is in your personal space. And it's like my Burroughs experience. That was my second or third time that I went over. Alex Burroughs was my roommate. He snored like a chainsaw. Like, it was insane. So that one night, it was like 3 a.m. earlier on in the tournament. I had a really bad back. I could barely skate. I called my agent like middle of the night. I'm like, Larry, get me the fuck out of here. I do not want to play. I don't want to deal with this. This is torture. I'm not even getting to this. I was on a plane the next day. I went home. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's what you expect. You know, like, some guys are going away on vacations. Here you are grinding, not sleeping, playing more hockey for free. So, though, different perspectives for sure.
Well, I will say 2019, the last Worlds I did, I think they asked upwards of 70 different players to come to Canada.
There you go.
Or they had 70 people reject them at the time. Which was, I mean, it's crazy how many players they do ask.
Now
I want to go. Go
I
ahead.
just want to add one more thing just before, because I'm shitting all over it. It is a fantastic tournament. It's incredibly entertaining. Like it's very entertaining, and I encourage people to pay attention and watch. I was only speaking from a player's vantage point. There is a little bit of reluctance there. I felt like I needed to kind of tie that off there at the end.
If you go and end up being a world champion like Nick Paul or Connor Brown or any of those guys, you get to wear that the rest of your life, right? Like, that's you get to say I'm a world champion. So that's kind of neat. I understand though the grind. I want to go back to Tim Stutzle for 1 second. You talked about watching reactions. One of the reactions I always watch is once they're down the tunnel, what they do. And he was livid, right? Like, there was the stick, if I'm not mistaken, like the stick slamming or whatever. That to me tells me he's hurt.
He was sassy though, like, because I was over there watching a lot of the games, obviously, like his first 2 games, and there was just something going on there. He wasn't dominating any of the games by any means whatsoever. He was still looking for his first goal. I mean, Mo Seider, who is sick, had like 3 points in his first game with Germany. So I'm saying this because I felt like something was going on with Timmy, and you could see that he was very like he looked like he was pissed off for those first couple of games. He looked frustrated.
Pressure.
So I don't know. I want to know. Yeah, it could be that. And was he already dealing with a little nagging injury to begin with? Like, I've got a lot of questions.
Maybe it's the knee.
Yeah.
Boys, there was an update this morning from Gord Miller. It's not as bad as they thought, and it's going to be
good.
Reevaluated in the next few days.
There you go.
That's the latest out of
All right.
Craig, did they say it's a knee?
They did not say it. But I mean, I think pretty clearly, I think it is. I just don't think it's as bad as they originally thought. So that's good.
That's good. That's good. It's good news. All
right. We'll move on to round one. The NHL playoffs is ones that we've seen. 51 games in round one.
He's called. Get
What's
me
that?
out.
What's that?
He's doing the same thing you did, though. I think there's a lag. I apologize. But he's on the phone with his agent. He's going, get me out. I don't want to play. Get me out.
You're probably right.
Back in Germany in 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's just go right to round one in the playoffs. Meth, let's start with you going perfect 8 for 8 in round one. You and Wayne Gretzky now be in the same sentence together. I think it was like 5.6% of all the brackets went perfect. So congratulations. You picked St. Louis, Florida, and Tampa in all perfect games, if you will. I went 6 for 8 because I chose some with my heart. I was one of the LA Kings to beat Edmonton because I just didn't think Edmonton could play any defense. And I thought Minnesota deserved to win a round. Anyway, so Bobby, how did you do in round one?
I lost one round. I thought it was going to be home series. I just thought that they had a chance with the game 7 at home. So a perfect 7 for 8 if you take that one out. I went with my gut on that one. It was a toss up, and I don't know. I should have went with experience. I should have, but other than that, I'm rolling pretty steady here.
Yeah. By the way, a perfect, it doesn't include 7 for 8. I don't think you can say.
I threw it out. I gave myself 100%. No, I gave myself 100% because it was a pick 'em. So I'm good.
All right, fair enough. And there was the goal scoring. Okay, so you two tell me, do you like the playoffs with all the goals, or would you prefer to see the 3-2, 1-0, 2-1 games. The average in opening round math, 6.4 goals per game.
Yeah. Well, okay. I didn't like the way the first couple games went only because I felt like the refs were really horned up when it came to blowing the whistle. I thought there were way too many, but and a bunch of people, and I made a comment about that online, and then a lot of people reassured me that, the players will adjust. I thought they did. I think it was a combination though. I think the players adjusted a little, and I think the referees sort of made an adjustment as well. Like I watched that game 7, for example, well, both game 7s, but particularly the Leafs one, where the refs started putting the whistles away a little more. So the pushing and shoving stuff, the pushes to the ground, or to the ice, I should say, those were not called. So that was good. I thought that was okay. I like the high scoring though. That's exciting to me. And I am a big proponent and supporter of high scoring games. I think everybody is. It's good for the game. I just didn't like the lack of flow early on, but I thought it adjusted as the series went on.
Fair enough. Bobby, were there any surprises?
Yeah, I agree.
For you?
I agree. No. Oh, no. I mean, your favorites won most of the series.
Yeah.
Right. So, no, you know what? I don't like blowouts because there was quite a few of them in the first round.
True.
I think you just want to see games, right? I turned quite a few games off because it was 4-1, and I don't enjoy that. I don't know, a bit of a list in that sense, but there were some goalies that just didn't play well. Early on. So I thought it was a good first round, but I'd like to have seen tighter games early.
And we'll get to a couple of those goalies in a sec. The one thing that, and I talk about lower scoring games, is because I want that next goal to mean something. It felt like in the first round, you could be down 2 goals and you'd be like, I think they might come back. I think there's a chance they're still going to come back and you're going to score 2 goals. In the old days, like when Meth played and you played, and I know it's only 2017, but is that you knew that each goal was important.
Yeah. And you're right. And that is that excitement level factor that you're looking for in those tight games. But then you can counter that argument with, okay, maybe some of the quotes, but look how many game 7s you had in that first round alone. So that kind of balances it out a little bit, I think, is at least the series as a whole was competitive, mostly across the board. But I feel like you're going to see a little bit different. It's going to be a different type of game now in this next round. Like, I don't think you're going to see that same sort of potential blowout back and forth game. You've got more consistent goaltending now in the second round, more balance across the board. I think it's going to be an absolute battle with some of these series. Like that Alberta series and that Florida series is going to be a bloodbath. At least I feel like it will be. I could be wrong, but I feel like you're going to get a lot of drama and it's going to be a lot of entertainment.
Well, as we switch to round 2, this is where Bobby has a costume change, or at least a set change, and so he's moved.
Yeah, where is Bobby? That's gorgeous. Like, look at that background. It's beautiful.
That's Orange County. Imagine getting traded from there to Canada.
Oh, we're gonna have to cut that clip.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I figured maybe the Wi-Fi was bad because I was hiding from the family, but no, I came out here.
Bobby, you're going to piss off a lot of very insecure Canada residents with that comment, but it's all good fun. It's all good.
Maybe it's Canada Lakes.
I love Canada.
I know.
Yeah,
I
love it. There you go. I love.
You're allowed to say it. You lived out there, so there's no offense.
Hey, I was essentially done, Robin. So
yeah, true.
Hey, I had no issue with my time there, so it was a good joke, and let's just leave it at a good joke. but I'm so. I don't want to. I just want to add, man, that Florida series is going to be. Last year, I felt so robbed because they had to play in the first round, and
I know.
It was a Stanley Cup final, right?
Yeah, totally.
And it's going to be awesome. It's not going to be awesome if Kucherov's playing hurt, like I think he is probably.
Man, he looked so off, right? I just and I know he's got like that swagger, that like nonchalant sort of, he almost looks lethargic at times, like it's lacking effort, but it was like compounded this round. But then I looked down and he still had a pretty good round point wise. Like I didn't realize how much production he had, like I was going to be critical of his play, and then he ended up leading the team in points that series. So, I mean, I don't know, but between him and Sergachev, there were a couple guys that really did not impress me. Like I'm shocked they got through that first round with the way they played at times.
Yeah, I was too. They're probably tired, man. Like they've played a lot of hockey.
100%.
And I don't want to give my predictions, but I think this is where it really catches them, especially if points down. I mean,
that was the other one.
Yeah.
But yeah. Do you have so you have Florida taking this round?
Wait.
Yep.
We'll pick them at the end. We can just discuss them.
Okay, sorry. Well, in close.
Is it your show?
To wrap up that point, I would agree with Bob that Tampa, and I've been saying this to a lot of people, I'm like, I don't think you understand how taxing it is to play like 2 Stanley Cup back-to-backs with like a month off in the summer and then right back onto that grind. Like you could see it in their legs in that first round.
Game 1.
It was a miracle. It was a miracle to me that even the game 7, did you see Toronto just absolutely engulf them with pressure in the whole first period? It wasn't just like, okay, here's 10 minutes of adrenaline and piss and vinegar because we're at home. Like that was carried into the entire first period where I'm like, there's no way Tampa's winning this game. And they did. I don't know how they did it, but yeah. Anyway.
Some will say the refs. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But the one thing is about that series, the Florida Tampa series, is the goaltending, which I thought would be perhaps the difference makers. They're the 2 lowest save percentage teams left in the playoffs. Both of their goalies, Bobrovsky and Vasilevsky, under 900 save percentage in round 1.
Right.
I'm shocked at how Vasilevsky was pretty pedestrian in round 1.
He wasn't that. I thought he was solid, but I feel like the elephant in the room here is Braden Point, though. Like he's probably their best player right now, like at least consistently wise. And he's not going to, based off of what we saw that injury, to me, that's the difference maker in this series. If you're looking to make a pick, I feel like that's your X factor.
Yeah.
Well, John Cooper.
I agree. And on top of it, Vasilevsky to me looked like, all right, we're in a do or die situation, so I'm going to take the game over when I have to. And then he's like, it just felt like he knows when he can turn it on and he knows when he doesn't have to. And you saw it in game 7. Yeah, that's just, he's like, guys, I've done this, it's like,
maybe
this is only the first round. I'll be there. I think he's going to be 5.
How good was he? Like some of those saves in that game 7, for just as an example, like my God, but he makes it look so easy and he does it so often that you're just like, you expect that of him. But then when you go back and watch the highlights, you're like, good God, this guy's the best in the world under that kind of pressure against Toronto. Anyway.
I agree.
John Cooper did say Point out likely for doubtful game 1, and he's day-to-day afterwards. So we'll see what that means. But
even when he comes back, he won't be the same.
They have the secret weapon, though. We have not discussed Nick Paul up until this point. And how about do we not feel pretty good for Nick Paul, who had perhaps the best game he's ever had in game 7 of a first round when he got to play in the playoffs?
Yeah, I do. I actually, not just Nick Paul, but anybody that takes a gamble on themselves, I like when they get rewarded.
Amen.
Loved when Duclair did it and got rewarded with the contract he got. And now, he's a healthy scratch down there right now, which is incredible.
Yes,
but that being said, Paulie took a gamble. I kept in touch with Paulie through the year a little bit, and I was stoked for him, man. I put it out on Twitter that it's just nice to see guys that go ahead and say, you know what, like I got more than what I'm playing right now. I can be a little more offensive, which, he doesn't have to be in the role that he's playing there, but he's excelling in that role. And he's just like, we've talked about it ad nauseum. He's a Swiss Army knife, and all of a sudden you need some offense, and he finds it in game 7, which I thought was incredible. And I don't know, he probably put an extra $500,000 in his tank right there.
It just goes to show you how big, and yourself included, Bob, like the bigger birds, like the guys that have size and are hard to push around, you absolutely need those guys in the postseason. They're the ones that can get you that out-muscled type goal at the last minute when the time, at the right time. That's an issue that I thought Toronto was missing. Like they got like Pierre Engvall maybe on that third line, I believe, on the right side. He's 6'5", doesn't play even a quarter as physical as a player Paulie does. Like, you know what I mean? Another guy, I won't name his name, but made a joke about how he could play with an egg under his jersey all game and wouldn't be an issue, right? You wouldn't crack the egg. So I won't out him, but he actually told me that yesterday. He's a beauty. So like for me, I'm a huge fan, like you, Bobby. I'm a huge fan of Paulie's because he's just the kind of guy you want to cheer for. And the balls that it takes when someone's dangling a big deal in front of you before the trade deadline and they're saying, okay, here's a little security. You want it? and you say, no, thank you. I think I'm going to bet on myself and I'm going to go elsewhere. And he did that. And I mean, I admire that so much because when I was negotiating with Ottawa and they were dangling that carrot, I'm like being held back by my agent not to grab that thing. Right. So good for Nick Paul. We're cheering him on here in the second round, but I just think with Florida, it's going to be tough. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, let's take your then as we do this, we'll take your Tampa, Florida predictions. Bobby, I will start with you.
I'm going to take Florida in 6. I think Vasilevsky steals a home game, and I think he probably steals a road game, but they close it out in 6 is my guess.
Yeah, that's what I have. What did I? Yeah, I had Panthers in 6. Same thing on my paper here. So I tried breaking it down like in the first round. It's easy. See, like doing stuff like this for guys like Bobby and I is a little easier because we're not far removed from the game. So we know a lot of the players. We know who we're betting on. It's almost unfair. It's kind of Pete Rose-ish. But I think for me, yeah, it's the same as Bob. I'm going to go with the Panthers in 6.
And I got my X factor in the series is going to be Sam Bennett this time around. Sam Bennett's going to have a big role.
I like that. Yeah. Good call.
Okay, so let me ask then, does Bobrovsky give you enough faith that he can get the job done?
Yes.
And if you're scratching a 30-goal scorer in Anthony Duclair, is there more concern with the Florida Panthers forward group because of that?
I will answer that very quickly first. I have faith in Bobrovsky only because the team is so deep that they're not going to be hanging him out to dry every night. He's just going to have to make the saves that are savable. I honestly think Bobrovsky will be okay. But my biggest thing, Florida was 0 for 18 on the power play. The Panthers, like I feel like there's some crazy stat out there. They're one of the only teams in NHL history to not score a power play goal in a round and still wins. So if they can figure out their special teams, it won't even be close. But we'll see. I still think it'll take 6 games. You got to give the Tampa the benefit a couple of times.
Yeah, I have faith in Bobrovsky. He's going to have to make the saves that he sees, and then on top of that, they're going to get a couple 10 bellers every game, grade A's or whatever you want to call it, because of the power play. And he's going to have to be their best penalty killer for sure. But
100%.
Yeah, I think that power play will work itself out. On top of that, you got a 30-goal player waiting wings because he's struggling a little bit. It doesn't matter. They're that deep that they're going to be able to roll 4 lines and 60 and have no problem.
Yep.
Well, just to be contrarian, and because I want Nick Paul to come back on the show, I will take Tampa in 6.
Ooh,
wow.
But I'm terrified that Braden Point is out for the series.
I was going to say, Wally, are you just like hoping there's some miraculous upset here? Okay. Fair enough.
Well, it's tough to put out a team that's so battle hardened, right? We saw that with Toronto.
I know, but they're beyond that now, though. I honestly think they're beyond that now.
Maybe Vasilevsky steals them. Okay. We'll move on. Carolina, the Rangers. This is the D'Angelo series, if you will. Who do you like in this one? Meth, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah. So instead of breaking down the whole series and then doing another breakdown and giving the pick, I'll just break it down really quickly and then give you is that okay?
Yeah.
Give you my pick?
Yeah. Absolutely. So
the season series between the two teams, this is to me the biggest indicator. Like this is the series that I have the least amount of notes on. Carolina took the series 3-1 during the year. New York just struggles against them. And this isn't a goaltender thing. It's both goalies. I mean, even Shesterkin lost both times to them. Goal average was just well over 3 a game. It was 3.63, I think. So I just think Carolina in their depth, I like their decor. They're getting some solid goaltending. I know Freddie Anderson was hurt, but they're still getting some good goaltending. Their forward depth is unquestionable. I'm going to go Carolina in 6. But I'd like to see New York win because I love seeing MSG light up. But I still think Carolina is going to take this series in 6 games.
Bob,
am I up? Yeah, I had Carolina in 6 actually. I actually. There's something about going into Carolina and winning a game that is extremely hard.
Oh yeah, totally.
And now the fans are there, right? Like, so it probably makes it way harder, but it's one of the worst buildings to play in. The way that they play right now, rolling the lines, the speed that they attack with, I'm not sold on the defensive Rangers being able to shut any line down, not just the top 2. Shesterkin, he's going to steal a game. I would say, and then at one point, I would say that Carolina will they'll have a trap game where they'll probably play a little more running gun than they need to play, and Panarin and those guys will make them pay in that one. But other than that, this is a team that doesn't adjust to you; they make you adjust to them, in every facet. And I mean, their D are so good. They're a very, very hard out for me. When I pick Florida and Carolina in the next series, I'm going to have a really, really tough time. But totally. I got them rolling through in 6. Winning every home game.
The only win they had this year was considered a steal. It was New York's backup, and they shut Carolina out. I think they had like 45 saves. So I mean, it's going to take, just to your point, it's going to take a legitimate steal here and there to get a couple wins. I just think Carolina is going to be too overwhelming. And to Bobby's point, playing in Carolina, like, there's nothing sexy about that arena from a visitor's player standpoint. The dressing room is terrible. Like, it's terrible. It's dark, it's cold, it's gloomy, it's split in half. Yeah. Like, we got to figure out where does the wind come from? I don't know. There's like a wind tunnel, and like, you're getting changed, you're putting your suits on, and there's like a moon landing every 2 minutes where your ass is touching another guy's bare ass. Like it's just, it's very, it's not a fun rink to play in. You go to Edmonton, you go in, the new Detroit rink, a lot of the arenas now, the visitors' rooms are just as nice as the one we had in Ottawa. But it's a hard building to play in. And with that fan base and that team, it's just going to be too much. They're going to be done in 6.
Yeah. It's one of the few buildings where you're like, can the bird take off from the parking lot? Like,
bring it in.
Just
Bobby, it probably could. Lose. All those
huge.
Parking lots, it's like desolate out there, but they tailgate. Like, to Carolina's credit, they tailgate before their games there. Even during the regular season, you'll see a couple people set up, and you're rolling in there like 4 p.m. on like a Wednesday, and you're like, really? Like, are these people not working? They're boozing, waiting for the game to start. It's awesome.
Brats and the Buds going early there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would like to see a playoff game there.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I did a few. I did, including the Eastern Conference Final there. It's a really fun time. The All-Star game was there one year. It was actually quite enjoyable.
So who do you have, Wally?
I want to pick Mika. And I just wait till I give you my answer. But
you and your feel-good bullshit.
Yeah,
like, come on.
He looked great at the end. Why can't I cheer for people I like? I'm taking Carolina at 6. How about the chemistry, by the way, between Kreider and Zibanejad right now? Right.
Where's Kreider coming from? Like, I know he's always been a very good player. I'm not chirping Kreider, but did you guys see this coming? Like, he's a goal scoring machine. No. It's crazy.
No, if you told me that guy was ever going to score 50, I would have called you a liar. Yeah.
Score 50, score 30. Would you ever thought Chris Kreider would score 30 goals?
Oh, right. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't mean to derail the conversation. I'm just like, the chemistry that Mika and Kreider have right now is out of this world. Like, that one timer that Mika set up Kreider, and Kreider just shelves it. Like, he's finishing. That's the difference. Anyway, we'll see how it goes, but I think it's going to be a lot for them, because that Carolina decor is no joke.
And they did look good. Like, the last 2 games, I thought the Mika and company looked pretty good. That's the only reason I thought they might have a chance here. St. Louis, Colorado. Do we need to say anything, or do we just make the picks?
No, I'll just do it. I'll do it really quickly. Unless Colton Parayko is going to play 40 minutes a night, which is not going to happen. I've got Colorado winning the series in 5. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Exact same. I had 5.
Come on, really?
I swear to God, because I thought I always think that a team like St. Louis, and actually any team that's in this part of the playoffs, is going to find a way to win a home game. That's kind of where I go with that.
Agreed.
But I don't even, honestly, I don't know if they do that. Like, and that's not a slight. They're a very good team, but they got some depth. Their power play was great. Yeah. So I think they'll probably steal a home game. But Colorado, I know there is that layoff, so there might be a little bit of a shock. Colorado system early, so they might steal one there, but it's a 5. But I honestly was going between 4 and 5. I'm like, what do you do here? So I picked
never
5.
mind, Bobby, never mind how good the team is. Like, and we're talking from Darcy Kemper, like, we're talking about from goal all the way up. Never mind that. Like, what about the X factor, the altitude? So you're going to go in there back and forth. All the Colorado boys are very used to it. I'm sucking wind out of my game skate warm up.
Yeah.
That's how hard it is to breathe in that building, right? So, I mean, for me, it's simple. It's like they've got the upper hand just about everywhere and at every position. St. Louis has a little more depth up front this year, but this is Colorado's series to lose. In fact, you're right, Bobby. It could even be a sweep, but I'll give them a token game.
That's one of those buildings where fucking place, man. If you get a shift that's over 40 seconds,
you're done.
Or 3, just hand up.
Well, you taste
taste
blood.
Out.
You can taste blood in your lungs.
You get that copper, right? That copper blood. Yeah. And you just come back to the bench and you're like, God, I'm a -1. Like that's a pretty good night. That's a pretty good night. Let's just get out of here.
I know. I agree. I'm with you.
Colorado in 6. I'm just going to stretch.
Not a boy, Wally. Finally on the same
6?
page. Good boy.
All right.
Well, I would say 5 because you talked me into it, but I can't pick the same as Meth. It bugs me too much.
That's fine.
Fair enough.
And finally, for the first time in 31 years, we get the Battle of Ontario, the Oilers and Flames. Should this be the most exciting of them all? And why will the Edmonton Oilers lose? Okay. Bobby, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, okay. This is the one that I put the least amount of focus into, unfortunately, but I'm taking Calgary and I'm taking them in 7. I think it's going to be a battle. I think it's going to go all the way. I don't know. There we go. So I'll let Meth and I have the same exact. I'm taking Calgary in 7. The 2 top end guys, Leon and Connor, are going to score and they're going to put up points. But Calgary's never shied away from running gun style. But if the game gets gritty, they can do that a little better too.
Yes, they can.
Aside from Nurse and a couple of the bigger guys, I just like their team. I think their size, for me, and their speed kind of swallows up some of the Yamamotos and the other guys in the series. So I just think they're a deeper, more prepared team for this, and they're gonna success under Sutter. They're gonna play that gritty game. It's gonna be a physical series, but they just got the edge there for me.
Yeah, and Calgary, they've proven that they can win and play just defense. I mean, if they want to play that way, and you're not going to lock down McDavid, to your point, Bobby, and Draisaitl, and I don't know what's going on. Leon might be banged up right now, but in any case,
hurt.
Yeah. So, but in any case, McDavid will his way some goals. He'll will himself into that game. It's what he did in the first round.
Yeah.
But then you factor in the goaltending. Mike Smith has to be a beast. Is he going to be a beast? I don't know. I mean, Markstrom is. He's proven. Calgary's proven that they can just play like low scoring games and hang on to it. I think they were only. What did they allow? I think I have it down here. They only scored 12 goals in that first series and won. So
that's crazy.
It's crazy. So I'm with you, Bobby. I've got Calgary in 7. It can be considered a bit of a coin flip, but you have to give them the edge. They have home ice advantage. They've got that big imposing defense core. Well, a couple guys, I should say, on the back end, and that's that depth that I think is going to be the advantage for them up front. So we'll see. I don't know how to break it down other than it'll be a goaltending battle. It'll be a discipline battle. How are teams going to do on special teams? Are you going to take advantage of those kills? Because there's going to be a lot of spicy games, a lot of pushing and shoving, probably some calls. So how good's your power play going to be, right? So I'm going to give the edge to Calgary. And I want a lot of sound bites from Daryl Sutter. I mean, the Daryl Sutter sound bites are going to be incredible. It's that dry, sarcastic sense of humor. I can't wait for it.
Oh, I used to hate interviewing him. Especially in the cup final, because you never knew how he was going to respond. And one day it was about, I don't know, I was out shoveling shit in the barn, and I'm like, I don't know how. I don't know what to ask. That's not
He's
going to
old
get me
school,
embarrassed.
man.
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
he's old school. Yeah.
I'll take Calgary in 6 in this one, but I will say, like, Cody Cece's on the Oilers, and Kyle Turris was just recalled. I'm just kidding. All right, those are the picks. They're in. I have a couple other questions before I let you go. On this date, by the way, I'm going to say brought to you by Boyd Moving. If you want better pay, more respect, more job security, it's time to move to Boyd Moving. If you're an experienced mover, truck driver, just a hardworking go-getter who wants rewarding work, then it's time to turn your job into a career. Apply today at boydcareers.ca. Boyd Moving. We keep Ottawa moving. On this date, gentlemen, this affects both you. May 17th, 2017, the Senators score 4 goals in the opening 12 minutes and 52 seconds. They chase Marc-Andre Fleury, who's replaced by Matt Murray in goal. They win the game. It's the last appearance of Marc-Andre Fleury's career. However, it didn't end up very well at the end of that. But can you talk about this game and how you felt this series was likely to play out once you chase the guy that's won a Stanley Cup in Marc-Andre Fleury? Bobby, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I thought we should have scored 2 goals and not chased them, because Matt Murray, he changed the series around really. And then we were up 5-1, I think, or 4-1 at one point. And Malkin, Crosby, Letang, none of them had their touches in the series yet. They hadn't really been able to get going, and we took a penalty late, and they scored on the power play, and it was a nothing goal, but all 3 of them got on the board in some capacity there. I forget who scored, but they all got a touch. And like, as an offensive player, even if the game's a throwaway and you get a touch towards the end, you look at it like it's a building piece, right? It's something that you can say, okay, we lost this game, but something clicked there, and they scored on the power play. And it was a stupid penalty. I can't remember who took it, but I do remember when I left the game, I was like, that we just woke them up in a sense. And those guys played very well the rest of the series, but they hadn't done anything to that point, and we gave them an out. It felt like there.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. I as a reporter covering that, I never would have thought of that, as you guys pointing out, winning 5-1 and thinking you just woke up the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's a very interesting take.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember talking to somebody on the bench, and I was like, that's a series changer. That penalty was, to me.
Wow, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I want to ask about the Penguins. One of the things is, are we seeing the end of that Penguin run because of now Malkin and Tang are both up as UFAs? There's a report that they've offered both of them 3 years at $15 million, when Crosby thinks it's a low ball offer, whatever. I don't even know if that's true. However, is it time now to see the change in the Penguins, Meth?
No, I don't think so. I think ideally, if you're building moving forward and you can get an insane amount of pieces for some of these players, obviously Crosby's not in the conversation, but yeah, I don't know. I think for me, it's you just keep this out, like if they're so attached to that fan base and they're embedded in the city. They've had a lot of history there. I think that as long as they've got some mileage on their game, and we saw Sid play out of his mind again. Yeah. I mean, for his age, he looked just as effective as he was 10 years ago. He was incredible. So I think if you're ownership, you're probably thinking, for as long as we have Sidney and Malkin and Letang, but particularly with Sid, you just keep building around him until you have a better idea of when he's probably going to want to get out, and you stay the course. I mean, right now it's still a good recipe. I mean, I think I still maintain Mario couldn't have left that ownership group at a better time, right? I mean, it was brilliant if you think about it, because you have to think they will start to regress a little bit and trend downwards. But yeah, as I said, just stay the course, keep building around Sid for as long as you can until he gives you an indication that he might have his last year coming up or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I agree with everything Mess said. I think they probably should, but I don't think they will. I think one of those guys is going to be gone, only in the sense that Ron Hextall doesn't give a shit about what you did before he got there, and he is not an emotional guy. It's not going to change his day to watch one of them walk, because he doesn't want to pay a certain amount of money. Obviously, Sid, your captain, he's your guy, so you have to say we did everything we could. And if you can't say that to Sidney Crosby, then you got some drama in the room and you got some other things. But I think that they're going to be asking for too much. Letang just had his best offensive year.
I know, it's crazy.
Somebody's going to give him 7+, right? Somebody will do it. But I don't know if Chris Letang is Chris Letang without those guys around him. So that makes it different. I don't know Gino from Hello, but my guess is 5 million to him.
Yeah, he's like, see ya.
Yeah. He was. My guess is that he's somewhere on the beach in Florida going, no, thank you. So I don't know what his thought process is, but somebody would give him a 3-year deal at 7 for sure right now. So. Right. I think one of them walks this year. I think it's not because they want to turn a page, but because financially they're going to say it's time.
No, and I think that's better for the organization. I mean, I think ideally you have to cut ties with one of them. I mean, you need pieces. You want to. you need young pieces to come back in and kind of fill that void for the next X amount of years, right? So you'll get a nice return with either Malkin or Letang. Obviously, I don't know. I'm not envious of that position because I feel like no matter what you decide to do, it's lose-lose. You know, if you're Hextall and you have to make a decision there, you're talking about big time fan favorites. It's very murky to deal with that kind of stuff. But in any case, I'm with you, Bobby. You make a good point there.
Last question, Bobby. I promise I'll let you go.
All right.
If there's you don't want to make any changes with the Penguins necessarily, what do you do about the Leafs? Lots of questions about, do the Leafs need to make changes? So it's an interesting dilemma. They deserve perhaps a better fate in round one. If they just gotten past it, we would not be having this conversation. Do you need to make some changes with the Toronto Maple Leaf lineup in order to win?
You might, but you can't because you paid everybody $12 million. So like nobody's going unless you're moving. Yeah, you're not moving Matthews, right? And Marner's not getting moved. I don't know.
Moving Nylander. You're moving Nylander.
You're moving him. You can't move JT. Nobody's taking that contract.
No.
So yeah, Nylander would be the guy. But at times I thought he was their best player again, and at times I thought he was their worst player again. So he's kind of an enigma, and I think he's the guy that goes. But honestly, you can't even get mad at him for the series because I thought that they outplayed the Lightning for a lot of it.
So do I.
There's a dramatization about what they need to do because they lost in the first round, and this is a team that's a Stanley Cup favorite. But you lost to a 2-time Stanley Cup champion in the last 2 years. You did not lose to a team that you should beat. Like, it wasn't a Boston situation.
Or
you lost to the best team. Yeah, you lost to the best team in the world over the last 700 days. That's all it is. So I don't think you need to blow anything up. You just need to kind of tinker with some spots, and that's it. But if anybody goes, it's going to be Nylander. I'm positive of that. I just don't know if you do it.
They're just missing. They're missing something. I don't know what it is. And this is another. I know I'm repeating myself, but I don't envy the GMs. I don't envy Dubas's position. Like, if you're Kyle Dubas right now and you have to figure out what to do this summer, like, you move Nylander maybe, and you get a couple nice depth pieces. Like, for me, they need a power forward. They need a legitimate power forward, not a guy who's on his way out. And I'm nothing but respect for guys like Kyle Clifford and Wayne Simmons and company. Like, those guys have paid their dues. They deserve nothing but respect. But you need a guy that come in your top six and be an imposing player to play against, like a Dubois or an Anderson, or I'm not saying Tom Wilson. I mean, I understand there isn't a ton of them out there, but they're missing that. They're missing a guy that's just hard to play against, that can still put the puck in the back of the net, good at net front. Their decor, I don't know what you do there. I mean, they were missing Rasmus Sandin in the first round. That's a top pairing defenseman. So that hurt them. But in goaltending, is Jack Campbell your goalie moving forward? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think so, but maybe he is. So, you mentioned Nylander. I thought he was okay. I still think pedestrian is the term I would use there. He kind of rides the coattails a little bit, right? Like, they're up 4-1. He might end up scoring an extra goal and he's on the game sheet, but he's not scoring that game winner. He's not the game breaker in your lineup. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you do there. That's hard.
I'm to your point too. If you don't ride Jack Campbell, you need to find the $5 million goalie, right? So, and I don't think a lot of guys, like, there's not a lot of goalies that are looking at Toronto going, this would be great, because they play run and gun. Yeah, it's like you're giving up 10 bellers every night. So if you let one of them in, you lose 5-4. And you're like, but I had a 90 save percentage, but I let the big one in. Nobody wants that because you're just going to get lampooned in the media by those guys that run that. No, it's not appealing.
Look at your second line center. Like, we all know John's a great guy. Like, Tavares, I met him. He's really nice, loves the game, kind of a hockey nerd, right? Like Spezza, just knows every stat, knows everything. But like the foot speed, like things like that, I all I could think was like, man, that's your second line center. And like, Pat Maroon beat him in a foot race for a puck, so it's like, and Patty's a beauty. I know he's a good guy and you win with him, but I'm just saying, as an example, like, that's your second line guy, and, often pretty absent for the most part throughout that round. So, and it was, no surprise. I mean, that's not a guy I expected to dominate either way. So they've got their work cut out for this summer, and there's some deals in there that handcuffs them. So I don't know what you do, but I don't know. I'll stop at that.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. It's never a dull moment in Toronto. Bobby, I hope the day is filled with dolphins in the water for you. And I hope, Meth, you can find enough change to fill your tank.
Thank you.
See you, boys. Thanks for stopping by.
Always a pleasure. See you guys.